explore using authentic projects to build literacy skills. A lot of my ideas are going to be focusing on like elementary students, but they can be applied and scaled for any level. But a lot of them will be looking at like digital writing. I'm Tiffany, and I am part of the Tech for Learning team. I am graduated from San Diego State University. And if you haven't heard of Tech for Learning before, we are a constructivist ed tech company based out of San Diego as well. So we offer creativity and like content creation tools that were designed specifically for education, as well as project-based learning, professional development. So I've been here with them since about like 2014, and I'm just super happy to be here with all of you and share some of these ideas. And then I always like to kind of kick things off with like a quote. I think it can just get us like thinking and really encourage that creativity process. And this one just really resonated with me as we're going to be looking at like digital writing projects. And just because we can get started with so many things with just like a simple word. And then here is our roadmap together. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of where we're headed today. So we're going to be looking at how we can organize ideas with students, narrative writing ideas, informational opinion, and then we'll get into some resources, as well as some questions at the end. And then I know your guys' time is super valuable, and I'm going to remain cognizant of that. So we'll go ahead and get started. And then if we have a little bit of extra time at the end, we'll just kind of take it from there. And then if you have any questions, feel free to like go in the chat. I have it up, or come off mute. We're a nice little group, so it's easy for all of us to kind of make this collaborative as we can. So a lot of the samples in content that we're going to be looking at today were built in Wixie. So Wixie is a powerful platform for students to use to engage in the curriculum in meaningful ways. So they can make digital projects with digital projects with their voice and original illustrations and video, artwork, all those things to help them enhance their reading, writing, and speaking skills to kind of build on all of that literacy work. For joining us today, everyone can have access to a teacher account if you wanted to follow along with some of the ideas. So I will put that in the chat. Again, a lot of these are kind of be form elementary, but if you want to check that out, you can try one out. You can click that link, and then you'll just go to that one. I'll show you how it works real quick. And then you'll just put like a little initial in the box just to kind of signify that that account is taken. And then you'll just go to this link right here, and you'll type that username and password into the box. And then that way you can get into Wixie and kind of dive into any of those. Oh, we have been seeing your slideshow. We have been seeing your slides, not the slideshow. Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. So you can log into that. So let me go ahead and pull up the actual. There you go. Is that better? We good now? Awesome. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so you can follow along if you'd like to do in that with the Wixie teacher account. And then this kind of brings us into the organizing ideas, which is such an important step for all project work. And one way we can do that is with graphic organizers. Graphic organizers are just a great tool to support thinking and comprehension. And it doesn't matter really what grade level that they're at, if it's primary, elementary, or intermediate. They're just a great tool to support ideation, and they can just be super versatile. So they help students make connections between ideas and large amounts of information easier to understand. But then they can also serve as a formative assessment throughout any project work as well. So especially in the digital writing process, like just getting started with ideas can be challenging. So you could use something like the cluster organizers to help brainstorm ideas, or you could even have like the little guys get started with an Oreo organizer to help them kind of work on opinion writing and that persuasive element. How are any of you familiar with the graphic organizer maker? Nope. Okay, so this is a fantastic free resource. It's open to anyone to use. You don't have to register an account or anything like that. It's simply just making graphic organizers that you can easily print and use in your classroom. So if you want to check that out, you can click there. I'll paste the link to that in the chat. And so it's pretty simple. So you can easily just get started with one of the sample ones, like a 5 Ws, and you'll just click it. And then it'll open up in a new page that you can simply save to your device or print for easy access, or to easily use it right away. Or you can even create your own by just clicking the new Create a Graphic Organizer button. And then you can just select what kind you like we'll do an Imagine cluster. And then you can add instructions if you'd like, or just add the default. And so all those will have default instructions in there, and then you can easily print it, start, scrap it and start over. And then if you click print, then you can just see your work, make sure that that's exactly how you'd like it to be. And then you just click the create a PDF button again. And then again, you can easily save that to your device or print it to use it right away. So it's pretty straightforward. Oops. So I was going to give everyone a little bit of time to look at that, but I think that we can just kind of continue on if you would like. Oops. Click forward. Perfect. Okay. So then there's also graphic organizers available in that Wixie account that I teacher account that I sent over earlier. So if I can show you how to access those really fast, so this is a tool that you'd like to try out. So you'll just log into your Wixie account, and then you'll go to your teacher homepage. And then you simply just go to the templates tab on the left, and then you'll navigate to the graphic organizer templates. And then you can easily find one that you'd want to use with your class or your individual students. And then you can just simply assign it, and then they will access it that way. You can also search for organizers like templates, like a beginning, middle, end, or you could do like a plot diagram, which is good for the narrative writing. And then again, you can simply assign that to help support them as they write their own narrative fictions. And then that brings us to our narrative fiction, which is getting students to find their own voice and encouraging them to give voice to the characters in their stories. So like for the little guys, we can support them with like templates, like just a simple sentence strips to help structure their writing. And then that way it's just a simple sentence, and then it's supporting illustration. And then as their skills grow and they become more sophisticated in their work, they can create their own ebooks and publish them to like their school or classroom library. And this one is my favorite one. I hope you guys can hear it. It's about a cow without a mouth. It's the best thing. Let me know if you can't hear it, because I'll put the link in the chat. Oh, I don't think you can. No? Okay, let me see. Okay, let me put the link in the chat just so if you want to watch it a little bit later, you can. It's hilarious. It goes on about how this, I'll show it here just so you can see it a little bit. Maybe you can hear it here. So it goes on about how this cow doesn't have a mouth, and it's like, where's the cow's mouth? They need it for eating, and then they have to call the cow fairy to come and help this cow find its mouth and get a new mouth so it can be happy. And it's just the cutest little thing. And it's just wonderful to have those little guys create their own. Oh, is this not? Oh, let's see. Let me get it to everyone. And there we go. Here is that link for everyone. Everyone can see that if they would like. So it's super cute if you wanted to check that out. But this is just a great story because, or it's great to have the little ones create the ebooks and be able to share and publish them because it gives their work real value just beyond their classroom. And it's showing them that they can be authors and publishers and that they can create these great things. And ebooks are just a fun thing that can easily be shared. And makes for great grade level like reading material for their peers. And especially this one when they're using that inventive spelling and illustrations and all that to really kind of make their ebook a lot like live and interesting. And then as students get a little bit more, sophisticated in their writing, we can have them write in a range of narrative forms like fables and fairy tales. And this is a fun one because they were asked to modernize a fairy tale. And so they came up with Ellie and the Giant. So I can show you that one. It's too bad they don't have sound, but this one they recorded their voice and they were able to go through and they created their whole story. And then again, they shared it as an ebook so that they published it so that other kids in their class and their school could have access to it. So it's just kind of really showing your students that their hard work is going to be viewed by others will really help with their motivation. And again, see that their work has value and real purpose beyond the classroom. So if you're using Wixie, each project shares as a URL. So it's really simple just to copy and paste the project. So like you can just easily copy and paste that for an email, or you can just easily download it as an ebook. There it is. So that you can add that to whatever ebook library that you're using. And it's just a kind of, again, that fun way to give students writing purpose and meaning. Slideshow again for everyone. Okay, great. And then this one is then again, we can pair reading and writing together to get students to create and think more deeply about the text that they're reading. And then they can make versions of their own favorite stories. Like for instance, they did an adaptation of It Looked Like Spilt Milk. And so the teacher read that book and then encouraged students to write and create their own. So this just started out as like a simple little template like this, where students can work on those basic computer skills as well as like the typing and just simply copying or clicking the mouse and whatnot. And then it turns into something amazing like this project here, where they're able to, do the typing, record their voice and come up with this like squiggle work. And it looks like just nothing, but then it's also, they're also learning so many just foundational skills just using a computer, because some, for the little, sometimes it's just so hard even getting them to use a mouse. And I wish I'll put it in the chat because it's really cute to hear her little voice, if you want to check that one out. And then what is really great is Creative Educator put together this fantastic list of literature suggestions for student adaptation work. So I definitely recommend checking this out if you have a chance. I'll share with you guys all the link to my slide deck as well. That way you can dive into the resources. I'll just do that now so everyone has that. So that everyone has that. But if you go here, they have really, really wonderful book ideas that you can use with your students. And then if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you as well. It's always nice to know like what everyone is reading and what's resonating with them in their classrooms. Okay. And then if you're using Wixie, Wixie also has templates that make it easy for teachers and students to get with story adaptations. And then many of them are based on books with repeating patterns. So it's making it easy for those emerging writers or readers, excuse me, to read a story and be able to decode all of the words and then easily recreate it with their own versions. So for instance, the templates, it's in templates, language arts, story adaptations. Like the color words is based off Brown Bear. So like if you don't have the book ready, there's a link here and the kids can watch the story on YouTube if they have access to that. And then they can simply work on their typing and they're retelling the story. So that's kind of a fun one that they can do that. And then they can easily, again, they can download that as an ebook or a movie and be able to share that with any of their peers. And this one is my favorite. So this is such a fun take. I love student poetry. I think it's just the most amazing thing. And I love it because it just gives students such voice to their work. So for instance, this student created a personification poem about the word happiness. And I'm going to share that with you all because it's the cutest thing. So the link for that one is in the chat as well. If you guys want to listen to that really quick, it's adorable. So you'll just open it up, and once it opens, just click the little play button on the video if you'd like to hear her poem. But it's just such an amazing one. Like poetry is just such a fun way for kids to express themselves and give them voice. So once you could have kids do like 5 sentences poems, or you could have them do haikus or even illustrated poetry to portray the meaning of the text. And then it's really fun to have like a poetry night where they can all read their poetry, or you could even do it virtually where you're doing things like this, where they're putting their video of themselves reading their poem. And so then you're giving them literally like a voice to their poem that everyone can enjoy. It's just really fun. Okay. And then rather than kind of controlling the types of products that students create, we can put students in the driver's seats with choice boards. So we can give them options like this one, where it's having them choose what product they would like to create. And then, or we could give them some story starters, which will help encourage them like in the writing process. That's really that you have for Tiffany here. Perfect. Yeah, definitely. Post questions in the chat if you have anything for me, or pop in and let me know. Just come off mute. Definitely always nice to hear from everyone. Okay, perfect. So how much does it cost? So it is, we have, for everyone joining today, I have that free teacher account that you can use. And a little bit later on, I can share, everyone will have access to, I can share how to get a teacher account, and then also a pilot for your school or district if that's something you're interested in. Standard pricing is about like $5 per student, but definitely it goes down from there because we have volume, there's volume discounts available. Most people end up at being about like $4-ish range, $3-ish range. It just really kind of depends on how many students you're looking at. But then that includes all your teacher accounts and all that stuff. But for everyone joining today, like I can give you access to Wixie and a school account, all that stuff if you'd like, just to try it out. So thank you. Great question. So I'll continue on. So I was we can explore. I was gonna share these are some fantastic lessons plans on narrative writing that I kind of found at Creative Educator that I thought were really fun and play off some of the ideas that we talked about. So there's the fabulous fables, visual poetry, which I always think is just one of my favorite things. Again, love student poetry. But you can come here and it'll kind of give you an idea. I'll put the link in the chat if you'd like to see that one. You can come here and you can see like what the tasks is, like how to engage the students in the learning event. And then it'll go on how they can create it, and then sharing it, and then assessments, and then again, any standards that might help them meet these requirements. Like most of them are going to be like Common Core and then the ISTE standards in there. So you can do that as well. I'll head on back over. Okay, and then does anyone have any questions so far? Is there anything you'd like me to show again or jump into? Nope. Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much. I am happy to continue on. And that brings us over to informational writing. And there's a lot of ways that we can change the project that students create to help them move from copy and paste to more higher level thinking projects. And one of the ways that we can do that is with postcards. There's so many, our world is filled with so many amazing people and interesting events and animals. And postcards make it a really fun way to engage students to share what they've learned and to engage in the curriculum. So for instance, if you're studying an ancient civilization, you could ask students what it would be like to visit that place and take on that persona as someone visiting the site during that time. If your students are creating them in Wixie, you can again just share the URL kind of as I am just in the chat. But then you can also ask them to put their video of themselves in it and taking on that persona to share about it or record their little voice. Or if you wanted to print it, it's easy just to print it as a postcard and then you can maybe even mail it off to someone. So that's a fun one. Another great one we can do too is an internet safety campaign and that they can share with their peers. So this one was actually created, I'll just play it in the background since you guys can't hear it. So this one was actually created by a student on their own at home. They just took it upon themselves to create this project that they could then bring back to their class and then educate their peers on being internet safe. And so this was a really kind of a fun thing. But if you wanted to encourage something like this in your class, you could have students work in teams and actually collaborate on something like this to make an internet safety campaign where they make digital material and also print material and then host a little workshop that they could in their classroom to get kids engaged in thinking about like digital citizenship and that internet safety and actually being active creators and makers. Alrighty, and then wanted posters. are another like little fun, interesting take on it. They can just be used in such a variety of different ways, and a great way to get students thinking about content, and again, moving kind of a little bit higher level thinking process, just because they are so versatile, and they're asking students to use the information that they're learning and their understanding in kind of unique ways. So like in the beginning of the year, for instance, you could do like an all about me book where they're sharing just interesting information about each other. And then you could post them up in your room as like a fun way to get to know each other. You could also have them create and wanted posters about to showcase the qualities of a leader or a community hero or a friend, or you could even do like an animal if they're doing the animal research report. They could also demonstrate like comprehension through vocabulary, because they can ask to use the vocabulary in ways that they wouldn't normally use it in the classroom. And then they could also use as a way to catalog like a character's traits or to cite evidence from like a text that they're reading. And it can just be a fun activity, putting a fun twist on like an academic activity that they would be doing. If you're using like Wixie, there's a ton of templates in there to help with this. It's already structured for you so that you could use it that way, so that they could easily just get started. And students have access to these, so they could easily, encourage that student agency for them to go and find it themselves versus you actually having to assign it. So that's one way. And these are fun too, because they don't require a lot of tech skill. It's just having them easily like log in, do some typing, they can do illustration, add images, and then they have this great artifact of learning that they can share out. I also like to do trading cards as well. I think that they are just a super fun way for students to share their knowledge, and then they're great performance tasks. And trading cards nowadays are way more than just like baseball cards. My niece and nephew are obsessed with Pokemon cards. And so this kind of is capitalizing on that same excitement and energy of that, and having students apply their learning through a product that's not solely academic again. And they're also a unique form of informational text, because you have like the heading and subheading and images and bullets and all those features of nonfiction text that they're kind of starting to grasp and learn. And then also, because of their small size, students really have to think about the information that they're putting on the trading card. So they really have to focus on evaluating material that they're looking at, delete anything that isn't important, and just write something that's really concise and really summarizes the content that they're learning about. So again, like beginning of the year, you could do an all about me one, which is always fun, and then they could just pass it out to their peers, and you could make a whole notebook of how the kids in the class, or you could have kids even create their own. And they could have them create their own board game where they make little cards and pass them out as one ways, or animal trading cards when they're doing their animal research projects. So there's a lot of different ways that they could use those. There's trading cards in Wixie too. There's a lot of different variety of ones that you can use. You can simply just search trading card at the top, and a ton will pop up that you can use. There's ones for like community heroes and animals and all about me, lots of different fun ideas that students can get started with. We even have like the vocabularies and ones for the Olympics. So we truly try to have like a variety of things to help encourage student learning. And then the tourism trade show. This is one of the fun ones, and this is starting to kind of move from that informational writing into kind of that opinion persuasive piece. This is fun. It kind of is a nice twist on the state project, and having kids create like promotional materials or a movie to try and encourage their classmates or their parents to visit this location. So it has it's still structured. You're still giving that structure kind of to the project a little bit. It's not totally like a free project, free for them. But they can go through, and then it has they put the unique geography and the history, all these things. And then of course the state flag, because every state project always includes that. So they always have that in there. There's this fun little ending. So that's fun, one way to do it. And then there's also a state choice report board. And this, I always like the choice boards again. I have a ton throughout, I just love them. I think they're a fun way. But anyways, this is a fun way to, again, give students that agency in choosing what product they want to use. The postcards I mentioned are great. Real estate is kind of an interesting take on it as well. Because again, you have that small amount of text. So they really have to think about what's important and what would resonate with someone as they're going through and evaluating their text and doing all of that work. Even the historical maker is after they do research on a project kind of getting into that persuasive element too, is kind of why this historical marker, this landmark should be nominated. So that's kind of fun way to do it as well. Yeah, so we'll continue on. And then again, I love the choice boards. I love that they give students agency and you just don't get the same product over and over again. And so depending on how you want to implement a choice board, you could do it as like a menu of choices for a single summative project, or kind of have it as like a list of choices that students can use like throughout the school year, or to inspire their work to complete over time. And then just giving the options like this just really ensures like your students become makers and creators, instead of kind of giving you those rote responses and moving away from just that copy and paste of material. I can share the link to this one if you guys want to just to look it out in the chat. Okay. I will move past that one. So this is another favorite one. I love interviews. This is an adorable one. Interviews are such a fun way too, because to have students engage with information, because it moves beyond just like a regurgitation of facts, and they're actually having to empathize with the person or the animal or the artifact that they're working with. This one was with a dinosaur. It's the cutest little thing. And it's Ellie and the dinosaur. But it's really fun, and she goes through and asks the dinosaurs all these questions. It's really fun, and there's a great lesson plan too on Creative Educator for this one. It includes like the tasks and the engagement event and all those things that you can try and use in your classroom if you like that idea. And we will continue on. And then here's some more. I love writing the informational text how-tos. For instance, you could have students create like a little recipe how-to book, since how-to writing is so big, and then combine all of those stories together to make like a class recipe book. If you're using like any digital tool, really, you could just share that off with parents at the end of the year to make this nice kind of class gift to remember everyone and their favorite recipes. Or you could even download it and use it and create like a finished product on like even Google. You can make a book or Shutterfly or places like that to make something that's a little bit more finished and polished looking. The ABCs are always a fun book too. They are so versatile as well. Oh, isn't that one cute? It just is one of my favorites ones. But yes, the ABC books are always great, even regardless of whatever age that you're at. I mean, you can use an ABC book for anything, and they're really great for collaborative work. So if you wanted to use Wixie, Wixie does have real-time collaboration. So you could have as many kids as you want in there working on the same project. And for the most part, I mean, from my experience, everyone seems to do pretty well on that. You know, can get a little crazy with like 20, 36 kids on the same project, but they all do pretty well. Or you can even just have kids work on individual pages and then combine it together to make like a unique book. Like sometimes they'll do it, they'll do them for like historical figures. Sometimes we did like, or I saw one where they did one for Women's History Month, and so the whole book was kind of themed on that. So that was really kind of an interesting take to see like the littles put together these great figures in that way. And then again, here's one on the internet safety campaigns, is that comes with those full ideas. So you could check that out. And then again, I'll share all this at my link at the end as well, so that you guys can have all access to it. Again, if you want to dive into some of these ideas a little bit deeper and try some of them out. And then we're getting into more opinion writing, and we're moving from that copy and paste of material again to more higher layer thinking. And that's kind of always the goal. I love this one. This is just my favorite relative movie. And this is an easy one, especially, or not easy one. This is a good one for like the little guys, especially as they're beginning to form their opinions and their opinion writings. Since the little guys love to share with their favorite this or the best that, like this teacher, Barbara Plum from Pennsylvania, she capitalized on that and then encouraged her students to create the My Favorite Relative movie. She supported the project with sentence starters, but then so they stated their opinion. They shared 2 or 3 reasons or examples why this was their favorite relative, and then they finished it with a concluding statement. We'll just share it to you really quick. So it's like their favorite, and their little voices on there too. And so then they go through, and it's just kind of straightforward for those little guys as they're beginning to work on their opinion writing. It's just a really fun one. And especially with Mother's Day coming up too, like they could download it as a movie and then share it off, and then always have this great little artifact with their child's voice on it that they can enjoy for all the years to come. And then as students get more skilled in their opinion writing, we can encourage them to create debate comics in the form of like debates. And this is a really comics are an interesting form that for product students create, because again, it's that small space. So they're like that trading card. So they really have to be deliberate in the text that they're including to really make sure that their points are concise and that everything's coming across. And then they can also bring in things like the use of colors, the size of their text, the shapes of the text box, all those things home to really showcase the emotion and make sure that their points are really evident. They're meeting all the criteria of evidence and all that. And so this was a fun one. And this was a debate of whether kids under 11, should have cell phones. And so it's just a little one like this. And then they got to the end where kids, no, they should not. And then they just simply printed it as a comic. And there's an option under the print menu to print the comic right there, sorry. So that's one way that they did that. So that was a really kind of fun one that they could do. And then with Common Core, there's such a focus on kids writing opinions about the books that they are writing. So one way that they can do that, sundry cartoons. Yes, well, exactly. All the cartoons, it's such like the graphic novel or graphic novels. They're such a great way to get students interested in reading and writing. Again, just that little bit of stuff helps encourage them and their creativity going as they're looking at all that interesting things on the page. And that's kind of the same thing with the book, with creating like a book style movie trailer. So this is kind of a short, fast-paced trailer that shares information about like a character, the events in the book, and it goes beyond simply just retelling and goes into motivating other people to read the books. And this is great because you're encouraging the others to read the book. So this could be something that they did in like a library where they had where they're encouraging other students or trying to get others to improve like their literacy scores or whatnot. And this was a fun one. And they shared it as a movie. So again, it could easily be shared. And then it just, has that hook at the end too, to try to get them to enjoy the book. So that's, must read, so fun. Okay. And then we can also tap into students' passions and their idealisms with creating public service announcements for an issue that they care about. So this example does come from an elementary classroom, but again, this could be, this is across grade levels. And they were tasked with creating a safety PSA for Halloween. So the teacher capitalized on their excitement for Halloween and then encouraged the students in their classrooms, in their class, to come up with safety posters that they could then share around the school. And then they could also combine it into one project that then they could share with others. I'll just share a couple with you, and because that these come from, they come from experience. Hopefully not that one, but like this one where like told you not to buy that super long dress, because I just imagine that of course that happened to some little kid that they fell from their dress. That's terrible, but it was good advice coming from a little guy. So that's just really kind of a fun way to do it. And again, it's just capitalizing on their real world experiences to create these products that are real for them. Like this is an authentic project that has real meaning for them and real meaning in their life. But you could really use them for anything like endangered animals, saving the water, or saving water, things like that. And then we can, again, I love a choice boards. I love providing students with choice and voice for how they want to show their work. So these are just fun ones in here that students can use to just trying to share their ideas and their opinions and create those persuasive writing projects. And then let's get back to that. And then here's some fun little lesson plans that I thought that the fun lesson plans that I think that are interesting that I mentioned. So you have my favorite relative, the tourism trade show, and then also the book trailers if you wanted to dive into those a little bit more to see what those are all about. And then here's a collection of those resources. A digital approach to writing can really help connect us with their learners and make their work really relevant to them and meaningful. So here, if you wanted to sign up, it's the Wixie account. You can sign up for a teacher subscription, not just an individual one, or you can also sign up for a school pilot subscription, and we can get that taken care of for you all today, just for being within the conference and your time with me. Really appreciate it. Then more choice boards. I love them again. So there's lots of ideas in there, or if you're using your teacher Wixie account, simply just search choice. And there's over, gosh, probably like 50, 60 of them in there now, different ideas that you can use. The graphic organizer maker that we kind of looked at earlier. And then also a collection of the lesson plans from Creative Educator. And then I know it kind of ended a little bit early, but no matter what type of writing you have students produce, the digital tools really provide a perfect canvas for students to share their learning. And a lot of these ideas can be replicated in many different tools. Wixie is just the ones that I have access to, but I'm glad I was able to share all these ideas with you today. And thank you for spending the afternoon with me looking at these. I'm here. Feel free to contact me with any questions that you have, and then I'll hang out here as we look at everything. Does anyone have any questions, or can I have someone up here? Okay. Yes, the Wixie does have these. So who owns the IP of the student work? So Wixie owns the student work. Yes. Yeah. Many of them, we've received release forms from the students and their parents. Yeah. So yes, we received the release forms. No one owns the student. No one owns the work, actually. I'm sorry. I missed the students. I misread your question. So all of this, we can't use any of the students' work without their knowledge. So we always have to receive student work or release from any of the work that's in Wixie. We don't own anything that's created in there. So regardless of what teachers create, because a lot of teachers will create their curriculum in there. So we don't own any of that. Anything that's in our template library are things that we've put in there that are open for anyone to use. But no, we don't own anything that kids create. That's theirs. Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, this is Greg, the facilitator.
Hi, Greg.
Hello, great presentation. I'm just wondering, are there any issues, concerns related to accessibility for these tools?
So there is a lot of different, there's a different looks and feels for Wixie. So you can change it to fit your students' needs. So there is also a primary interface, and there's also the standard interface is one which I was showing you in. So you can easily change that to fit some of their needs. And then it'll work with a lot of adaptive technology tools as well. So there is text to speech text to speech that students can use, where it'll actually highlight the words. So students go and read sentences, so they can practice their fluency that way as well. And then I could just exit the chat. I apologize. I can show you what that might look like. So if you were in primary theme, this is a little one that's a little bit easier for the little guys to use. It's the simpler feature set than the standard one. And then use a teacher, I can remove any of these tools. If I don't want them to have access to it. So if something might be a little bit too advanced for them, then I can remove it. And then for them to add their voice narration, the students is really easy. For primary guides, they just click the little voice button they hit this, and then it does a countdown for them, and then they can record up to 5 minutes per page. We might not want them to record 5 minutes per page, but they have that opportunity to do that. Then if they wanted to add a movie of themselves, they just hit that button and then it'll connect. And they can do it that way. Or if you're in the standard one, again, it's just always the microphone button. So it's easy, you get that countdown.
Great, thank you.
Yes, yeah. I believe that the screen reader would work for it. If you probably won't be able to hear, but if you use Wixie, they just click this little button right here, and then it'll read it back to the students. But you can see how it lights up, so it helps highlight the words for their students. And then if you were sharing it as a product, sharing it out, there is a slideshow option where you can have it speak. So it will read every word on the page back to the students.
Very nice options.
Yeah, so it's kind of a fun things in there to help students. We try to make it as easy as yes, there are alt text tags, and you can change them too. So jack-o'-lantern man, you can just change it if you want it to be pumpkin. And then when the kids click on it, then it'll say whatever you would like it to say. And then the image, all the images in here are all safe search. They're all copyright friendly, all academic, everything in there. They're not going to stumble on anything that's going to be concerning. We also include the Pics for Learning. I don't know if any of you have heard of this, but this is a great website. It's all free images for education, and it's community. It builds from community. It actually started from, I believe it's Orange School District in Florida, and it was started from them as like a project out there that they were doing, and then came to Tech for Learning to ask if they could, take over hosting all of this. And so every single one of these pictures are vetted, and they're all free to use in education. So this is a really great website. Regardless, let me get there. I put the link in the chat for everyone. So that's really, oops, I'm sorry. I sent that as a direct message again. Let me send that to everyone. Okay, there we go for everyone. So this is a really great curated image library that's free to use for education. Awesome. Yes, absolutely.
Do we have any other questions for Tiffany? You're welcome to unmute yourself and talk.
Yes, absolutely.
We have about 5 minutes left.
Yes. Here, if anyone wants to have access to everything, here's my presentation again. So you have that, and you just make a copy of it if you like. You just get a file, and then I think there's a make copy option if you wanted to save that and use any of the resources in there, any of the ideas.
And just so everyone knows, this was recorded, and we'll be uploading all of the recordings over the next couple of weeks. So once they're there, we'll send out a message to all of the participants, letting them know their recording is available.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you all so much for sticking with me and hanging out and learning more. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time. I know how valuable it is nowadays. So I really thank all of you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Yes.
Everyone have a good day, and hope you're enjoying the conference, and hope to see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your time at the conference, everyone. Thanks again. Bye.